soda fountains and so forth, and it's kind of hard to, you can't do it back over again.
You can never do it twice the same way.
That's right, you can only do it live and it still won't be the same way.
Did you know that some of the most iconic actors and singers from the golden age of Hollywood ended their lives in poverty? In this video, we'll take a look at 25 legends whose careers ended in heartbreak and financial struggle. Number 25, Judy Garland. Judy Garland is forever remembered for her iconic role as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. While her career soared early on, earning her an estimated $40 million, her life took a tragic turn. Despite fame and fortune, Judy struggled with addiction to prescription drugs and alcohol. Financial mismanagement, bad investments, and an ex-husband who squandered her wealth left her nearly broke by the time of her death in 1968 at just 47 years old. Her estate was worth only $40,000, while her debts totaled $4 million. Garland spent her final years performing in small venues, trying to pay off her debts, but passed away at a time when she should have been enjoying the fruits of her labor. Next up, let's talk about another famous face from Hollywood's golden age, one who was known for his incredible charm and captivating screen presence. But Errol Flynn's story is filled with unexpected twists and financial troubles that few could have predicted. Number 24, Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was the quintessential Hollywood heartthrob, known for his roles in Captain Blood and Robin Hood. He earned millions and lived a lavish lifestyle, but his extravagant spending caught up with him. Flynn bought yachts and homes, but his reckless financial decisions and a high-profile statutory rape trial in the early 1940s drained his wealth. Despite being acquitted, the legal fees and damage to his reputation, they took a financial toll. By the time Flynn died in 1959, at 50 years old, his estate was worth just $10,000. Legal troubles, bad investments, and alcoholism led to his financial collapse, and he spent his final years struggling to make ends meet. Now let's move on to the tragic tale of Barbara Payton, a rising star who had the looks and talent to make it big, but was ultimately undone by her own personal demons. Number 23, Barbara Payton. Barbara Payton was a promising starlet of the early 1950s, with looks and talent to match. She appeared in films alongside heavyweights like James Cagney and was poised for greatness. However, her personal life spiraled into chaos due to substance abuse and tumultuous relationships. As her career faded, Payton struggled to maintain her image, and her earnings dried up. By her late 30s, she was living in poverty, far from the glamorous lifestyle she once had. Tragically, she passed away in 1967 at just 39 years old, alone and penniless, with no proper burial. Her story serves as a stark reminder that fame and fortune can disappear in an instant. Next up, you may be wondering how something so tragic can happen to someone so talented and loved by millions. Well, sometimes the pressures of fame, addiction, and poor financial management can get the best of even the brightest stars. Number 22, Fatty Arbuckle. In the 1920s, Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle was one of Hollywood's highest-paid stars, earning over $1 million annually. However, his career was destroyed by a scandal in 1921 when he was accused of the rape and manslaughter of actress Virginia Rappe. Although he was acquitted, the scandal, along with the excessive spending and legal fees, drained Arbuckle's wealth. He tried to revive his career under the pseudonym William Goodrich, but his efforts were in vain. By the time he died in 1933, he was penniless, burdened by debt, and struggled to find work. His tragic end highlights how a single scandal can obliterate a career and fortune. Now, let's move on to Dorothy Dandridge, a groundbreaking star who faced her own set of challenges in the Hollywood spotlight. Her story is a powerful one, filled with triumph and tragedy. Number 21, Dorothy Dandridge. Dorothy Dandridge was a groundbreaking actress and singer, most famous for her role in Carmen Jones. She was the first African-American woman to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress, making history in a time when racial discrimination was rampant. Despite her talent, Dandridge faced numerous challenges in Hollywood, where opportunities for people of color were limited. Financial mismanagement further drained her wealth, and personal struggles with marriages and emotional turmoil impacted her career. By 1963, she filed for bankruptcy, owing $150,000, much of it in unpaid taxes. She tragically passed away in 1965 at the age of 42, her bank account containing only 24 cents. Dandridge's death, ruled as an accidental overdose, marked a heartbreaking end for a woman who had faced overwhelming financial pressures even after achieving great success. Next up, we take a look at the tragic story of Marie Prevost, a shining star of the 1920s whose life spiraled downward after the arrival of sound films. Her story is one of personal and financial decline, leading to a lonely and heartbreaking end. Number 20, Marie Prevost. Marie Prevost was a shining star of the 1920s, known for her work in silent films. However, with the advent of sound films, Prevost's career began to decline. Her personal life became fraught with issues, and her financial situation worsened. Unable to regain her former star status, Prevost's life spiraled into loneliness and poverty. By the time of her death in 1937, at just 38 years old, she was living in squalor. The glamorous world of Hollywood had abandoned her, and her tragic end underscored the fleeting nature of fame in an unforgiving industry. Number 19, Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. was a legendary entertainer, singer, dancer, actor, and comedian. His incredible talents made him a household name, but his financial life, well, it was far less glamorous. Despite his fame, Davis faced serious financial troubles, owing over $7 million to the IRS when he passed away in 1990. His extravagant lifestyle, which included expensive clothes, lavish homes, and fast cars, came with a hefty price tag. Poor financial management, bad investments, and advisors who didn't have his best interests at heart led him into debt. Despite his financial woes, Davis continued performing, trying to pay off his debts until his death. His story serves as a reminder that even the most talented stars can be overwhelmed by their own choices. Next up, let's talk about another star whose name is iconic, but whose life was marred by struggles with addiction and financial mismanagement. That star is Veronica Lake. Number 18, Veronica Lake. Veronica Lake was one of Hollywood's biggest stars in the 1940s, famous for her sultry looks and the iconic peekaboo hairstyle. But behind the glamour, her life was marked by struggles with alcoholism and mental health issues, which took a toll on her career. As her film career faltered, Lake's financial troubles escalated, leading to bankruptcy by the early 1950s. When she passed away in 1973, at 50 years old, she had very little to her name. Lake's story highlights how addiction and mental health challenges can turn a promising career into a tragic downfall. Now, let's shift gears and talk about someone who revolutionized film with his groundbreaking physical comedy. That person is Buster Keaton, a legend whose legacy in the film world is still felt today, despite the personal and financial struggles he faced in his later years. Number 17, Buster Keaton. Buster Keaton was a pioneering silent film comedian known for his daring stunts and deadpan expression. His career thrived in the silent film era, but the arrival of sound films in the late 1920s made the transition for him difficult. Keaton struggled to adapt to the new style of acting, and his career began to decline. His personal life was just as tumultuous, with a bitter divorce in 1932 that drained his finances, compounded by poor investments and alcoholism. Despite finding work in television and smaller films in the 1950s, Keaton never regained his former success. By the time he died in 1966 at 70 years old, he was living modestly, far removed from the Hollywood spotlight. His story is both inspiring and sad, a reminder of the fleeting nature of fame. Number 16, Mabel Normand. Mabel Normand was a major figure in the silent film era, known for her comedic talent and work with Charlie Chaplin and Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle. However, her career took a dramatic turn in 1922 when she became associated with the murder of director William Desmond Taylor. While she wasn't a suspect, the media frenzy surrounding her tarnished her reputation. Her career faltered and her health declined as she contracted tuberculosis, which made it difficult for her to work. By the time she died in 1930, at just 37 years old, Mabel was living in poverty. Her story is a tragic reminder of how scandal and illness can destroy even the brightest careers. Next, let's move on to Terry Thomas, the beloved English comic actor who captured hearts with his unique style of humor. But behind his charming persona, Terry faced an uphill battle with health issues that would eventually lead to his financial troubles. Number 15, Terry Thomas. Terry Thomas was known for his impeccable comedic timing and his trademark gap-toothed grin. He starred in classics like Those Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machines, 1965, and his comedic talents made him a fan favorite in both Britain and Hollywood. His impeccable wit and quirky humor made him a beloved figure on screen, and it seemed like nothing could stop his rise to fame. However, in the 1970s, Terry Thomas's life took a tragic turn. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a debilitating condition that affects the nervous system. As his health deteriorated, Terry's medical expenses became overwhelming. The cost of his treatment, combined with the challenges of living with a progressive illness, drained his finances. In addition to this, his acting career slowed down as he struggled with the effects of Parkinson's disease. Unable to keep up with the high medical costs, Terry Thomas was forced to live in a modest retirement home in his final years. His once glamorous life had been replaced by a quiet existence far from the spotlight. When he passed away in 1990, he was living on a modest income and had very little wealth left to his name. Now let's turn to the legendary Bela Lugosi, a man whose iconic portrayal of Count Dracula made him immortal in cinema. But despite his fame, Lugosi's life was marred by addiction, financial struggles, and a tragic decline. Number 14, Bela Lugosi. Bela Lugosi will forever be associated with his role as Count Dracula in the 1931 film Dracula. His performance was iconic, and he became a star in the horror genre, creating a lasting legacy in film history. But as the years went on, Lugosi's career began to falter, and his personal life spiraled out of control. Lugosi's fall was largely due to typecasting. After his success in Dracula, he was rarely offered any other types of roles. Hollywood saw him as nothing more than a vampire, and this limited his career options. To make matters worse, Lugosi became addicted to morphine, a drug he started using to cope with chronic pain. The addiction took a severe toll on both his health and his finances. In 1955, Bela Lugosi filed for bankruptcy, and his debts exceeded his assets. His once thriving career had dwindled, and he struggled to find steady work. By the time he passed away in 1956, Bela Lugosi was living in poverty with only $1,900 to his name. His funeral was paid for by Frank Sinatra, reflecting just how far Lugosi had fallen from the heights of fame. Lugosi's life is a tragic tale of how fame can quickly fade, especially when addiction and poor decisions take hold. His story also serves as a reminder of the dangers of typecasting and how hard it can be for stars to break free from their iconic roles. Next, let's look at Bud Abbott, one half of the legendary comedy duo Abbott and Costello. Despite their success, Abbott's story takes a sad turn after his partner's death, leading to financial ruin. Number 13, Bud Abbott. Bud Abbott, along with his partner Lou Costello, made comedy history with their legendary partnership. The duo became one of the most popular and beloved comedy teams in Hollywood, with films like Buck Privates, 1941, and the famous Who's on First routine. Their chemistry was unmatched, and they were household names, bringing laughter to millions. However, after Lou Costello's death in 1959, Bud Abbott struggled to maintain his career. His health began to deteriorate, and he also faced tax issues that drained his finances. Abbott's once thriving career and wealth began to slip away as he faced financial mismanagement and struggled with personal problems. By the time he died in 1974, Abbott was living in a small apartment with very little wealth left. His estate was insufficient to cover his debts, and he died virtually penniless. despite his legendary status as one half of one of Hollywood's greatest comedy duos. Bud Abbott's financial downfall was a tragic end to a brilliant career. Number 12, John Garfield. John Garfield was known for his powerful performances and intense roles in movies like The Postman Always Rings Twice, 1946. He was one of the first actors to really embrace the method acting style, where he dug deep into his emotions to bring raw and genuine performances to the screen. Garfield's career was on the rise, and it looked like he would be one of Hollywood's top stars for many years to come. However, Garfield's promising career came to a halt in the 1950s during the Red Scare, when fears of communism led to the blacklisting of many actors, directors, and writers in Hollywood. John Garfield was named in the White House Un-American Activities Committee investigations simply because of his alleged left-wing sympathies. Although he was never convicted of anything, his career was severely damaged. Studios refused to hire him, and the roles he had previously been offered disappeared. Next up, let's talk about a legendary musician whose talent revolutionized music, but who faced struggles of his own. That legend is Ray Charles. Number 11, Ray Charles. Ray Charles wasn't just a musician, he was a pioneer. Known as the Genius, he was a groundbreaking figure in the music world, blending genres like jazz, blues, and gospel to create his own signature sound. Hits like Georgia on My Mind and Hit the Road Jack became a household name. Despite his incredible success, Ray Charles faced significant challenges, especially when it came to money. While his music was revolutionary, his personal finances were a different story. Alimony payments, gambling, and poor investments drained his wealth. Ray's financial management wasn't up to par, and he struggled with debt throughout his life. Even though he was one of the most successful musicians in history, his financial troubles followed him. By the time Ray Charles passed away in 2004, his finances were still tangled in debt. It's hard to imagine someone with such incredible success in music struggling financially, but it's a reminder that managing money is just as important as talent. Despite his challenges, Ray's legacy as a music legend remains intact, showing that talent and personal struggles can coexist in powerful ways. Next, we turn to Jackie Wilson, whose voice could light up a stage, but whose personal battles became harder to ignore. Number 10, Jackie Wilson. Jackie Wilson was one of the most electrifying performers of the 1950s and 1960s, known for hits like Reet Petite and Lonely Teardrops. He was often referred to as the Black Elvis because of his explosive performances and immense popularity. His talent on stage was undeniable, and he captivated audiences with his incredible voice and energy. However, Jackie's life behind the scenes was much darker. Like many stars, he struggled with drug addiction, which took a toll on both his health and his career. On top of addiction, Jackie had significant financial mismanagement. His money was often handled poorly, and he made some questionable financial decisions that left him in debt. By the time Jackie Wilson passed away in 1984, he had lost much of his wealth. His final years were filled with personal struggles, and he died in relative poverty despite his groundbreaking contributions to the music industry. Jackie's story is a tragic reminder of how even the most brilliant stars can be undone by addiction and financial mismanagement. He was a true musical pioneer, but his struggles off the stage were just as powerful as his performances on it. Next up, let's explore the life of Nat King Cole, another iconic figure in the music world who faced battles with both racism and financial difficulties. Number 9, Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole was one of the most famous and beloved jazz singers of the 20th century. His smooth, velvety voice made him a household name, and hits like Unforgettable and Mona Lisa became timeless classics. But behind his successful career was the story of a man who faced racial discrimination and struggles with the limitations of his success in a segregated industry. Despite his groundbreaking achievements, Cole was often relegated to second-class status because of his race. He was not allowed to perform at certain venues and faced barriers that white performers did not. In addition to the racial challenges, Cole struggled with financial difficulties. Poor financial decisions, combined with the limited opportunities given to him by the industry, caused his wealth to dwindle as time went on. By the time he passed away in 1965 from lung cancer, Nat King Cole's financial situation was in disarray. Despite his immense talent and iconic voice, he had very little wealth left. Nat's story highlights the struggles that many black artists faced in the industry, as well as the financial mismanagement that can befall even the most successful. Number 8, Sarah Vaughan. Sarah Vaughan, known as the Divine One, was one of the greatest jazz singers of all time. Her voice was extraordinary, and she became a household name, earning respect and admiration from fellow musicians and fans alike. But despite her immense talent and contributions to jazz, Sarah Vaughan's life was not without its struggles. Vaughan faced significant tax problems, which added to her financial woes. Poor financial decisions and mismanagement further drained her wealth. As time went on, her financial strain grew, and she was forced to deal with the mounting debt. Despite her status as a jazz legend, Sarah Vaughan's financial difficulties followed her, and by the time of her death in 1990, she was struggling to make ends meet. Sarah's story, like the others we've discussed, serves as a reminder that financial management is just as crucial as talent. Even with success, personal challenges like poor money management and external factors can leave even the most famous stars in financial ruin. Number 7, Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier made history in 1964 as the first black man to win an Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in Lilies of the Field. His victory marked a monumental achievement not just for him, but for African American actors in Hollywood, breaking racial barriers that had long limited opportunities for black actors. Poitier's role in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner further solidified him as a trailblazer in Hollywood, and he became one of the most respected actors of his generation. But despite his stellar career, Sidney Poitier faced financial struggles in his later years. Over time, Poitier made some poor investments, and his wealth started to dwindle. On top of that, his health began to decline, adding more pressure to his financial situation. Poitier, who had been an influential figure in the entertainment world, passed away in 2022, but his later years were marked by personal challenges, even though his impact on the film industry remains significant. Next, let's move to Ruby Dee, another beloved figure who not only made her mark in film and television, but was also a key figure in the civil rights movement. Number 6, Ruby Dee. Ruby Dee was much more than an actress. She was a civil rights activist who used her platform to fight for racial equality. Her powerful performances in films like A Raisin in the Sun and her activism in the civil rights movement made her an icon in both the entertainment industry and society. Dee's work as an advocate for social justice earned her admiration and respect from fans, but in her later years she faced significant financial struggles. Like many other stars of her time, Ruby Dee's finances were mismanaged, and by the time of her death in 2014, she had limited resources left. Despite her impactful career, Dee, unfortunately, fell victim to poor financial planning, and her later years were filled with health problems that only added to her difficulties. Ruby Dee's story is a sobering reminder that even the most celebrated stars can face tough times as they grow older. Next up, let's take a look at Lena Horne, one of the most groundbreaking artists in Hollywood history. Despite her incredible talent, Lena's life also included significant financial difficulties. Number 5, Lena Horne. Lena Horne was an extraordinary actress and singer whose career broke barriers in Hollywood. Her beauty, voice, and presence made her a standout in films like Stormy Weather, and she became one of the first black women to be offered major Hollywood roles. Horne was a trailblazer, but despite her groundbreaking achievements, she faced financial difficulties throughout her life. In Hollywood, Horne's career was often limited by the racist practices in the industry, which left her with fewer opportunities than her white counterparts. On top of that, poor financial management further strained her wealth. By the time she passed away in 2010, Lena Horne was struggling with the fallout from years of bad decisions in managing her finances. Despite her talent, the financial barriers she faced throughout her career took a toll on her later years. Now, let's turn to Eartha Kitt, a woman who became iconic for her roles, including her unforgettable portrayal as Catwoman in the Batman series. But she faced her own financial struggles in her later years as well. Number 4, Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt was known for her sultry voice, stunning looks, and captivating presence. Her portrayal as Catwoman in the 1960s Batman series made her a household name, and her career as a singer and actress cemented her place as one of the most iconic figures in entertainment. But while Kitt was famous for her roles and music, she struggled with financial instability in her later years. Personal issues, mismanagement of funds, and a lack of steady income from acting roles left Eartha Kitt facing financial hardship as she grew older. Despite her fame, Kitt's later years were filled with financial struggles, and she died in 2008 in poverty. Her story serves as a powerful reminder that even those who have graced our screens and stages with unforgettable performances can experience hardships when personal issues and financial mismanagement come into play. Next, let's look at the life of James Brown, the godfather of soul, whose extravagant lifestyle eventually led him into financial turmoil. Number 3, James Brown. James Brown was a musical genius whose influence on soul, funk, and R&B is still felt today. Known for hits like I Got You, I Feel Good, and Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, Brown changed the face of music with his electrifying performances and groundbreaking sound. But despite his success and monumental contributions to music, Brown's life was filled with personal and financial struggles. James Brown's extravagant spending habits, combined with legal troubles and constant disputes over his estate, left him in financial turmoil. He spent a lot of money on his lifestyle, and his family disputes over his estate caused even more stress in his final years. When he died in 2006, his estate was tangled in legal battles, and his family continued to fight over his assets. James Brown's financial woes serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of excessive spending and the complicated nature of managing an estate after death. Now, let's move on to the life of Bessy Smith, the Empress of the Blues, whose life was filled with both success and tragedy. Number 2, Bessy Smith. Bessy Smith was known as the Empress of the Blues, one of the most influential singers of the 1920s and 1930s. Her powerful voice and emotional performances made her a legend, and she was one of the highest-paid performers of her time. But despite her immense talent and success, Bessy Smith's life took a tragic turn. Smith's life ended in poverty after a car accident, despite the fact that she was one of the highest-paid entertainers of the 1920s. The details of her financial situation at the time of her death are not entirely clear, but what is known is that her wealth had diminished significantly before she passed away. Her story serves as a reminder that financial success doesn't always last, and sometimes the brightest stars burn out too soon. Finally, let's talk about Donny Hathaway, a soul singer whose career was tragically cut short by mental health struggles. Number 1, Donny Hathaway, a talent lost too soon. Donny Hathaway was an incredible R&B and soul singer whose music continues to touch hearts today. Known for songs like A Song for You and This Christmas, Hathaway's voice was full of soul and emotion, earning him a place among the greats. But his career was tragically cut short by mental health struggles and financial issues. Hathaway battled mental illness throughout his life, which impacted his ability to maintain a steady career. On top of his personal challenges, financial mismanagement further contributed to his downfall. Donny Hathaway passed away in 1979 under mysterious circumstances, and his career and life were cut short at just 33 years old. His story is one of immense talent lost too soon, and it serves as a reminder of how mental health can deeply impact even the most gifted individuals. As we reflect on the legacies of these remarkable artists, it's crucial to remember their contributions and the importance of supporting those who paved the way for future generations. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.